All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack a truly fascinating philosophical debate. We're going to be talking about the nature of human ambition, extreme thrills, and, well, our biological limits. Today, we're looking at a deeply thought-provoking dialogue from a text titled The Ethics of Human Ambition. It's basically a conversation between two characters, Shruti and Mama, and it explores this crazy tension that I think a lot of us feel. On one hand, there's this intense, almost magnetic pull to push ourselves to the absolute physical edge. But on the other hand, there's this grounded, pragmatic voice asking us to take a step back and consider our natural boundaries and our deeper responsibilities. It's just a brilliant exploration of why we do what we do.
We're starting right at the heart of the conflict with a question drawn directly from our source material. What is the point in achieving something that the human body is not supposed to? Mama actually poses this question to challenge the entire logic of pushing physical extremes. And honestly, really think about that for a second. We constantly celebrate people who conquer the most hostile environments on Earth, right? But this perspective asks us to pause and look at the biological reality. If our bodies simply aren't built for these extremes, is crossing that line an actual triumph? Or is it literally just an act of forcing ourselves into spaces where we don't belong?
So let's unpack that in part one, the lure of the extreme. In the text, Shruti boldly declares, "I will go bungee jumping, parasailing, and even go into seas with sharks. I want to feel the thrill." She even mentions wanting to summit Mount Everest. It perfectly highlights that visceral, almost primal human desire to conquer the natural world simply to feel alive. For Shruti, the value of an experience is directly 100% tied to the thrill it provides. It's all about leaving no stone unturned and experiencing everything the world has to offer, completely regardless of the physical risk. It's that mindset of total immersion.
Now, here is where it gets really interesting. We see this ultimate clash of worldviews. You've got this intense thirst for physical thrill pitted right against a pragmatic belief in intellectual, constructive endeavors. Shruti is adamant that one must experience everything. But Mama counters with a totally different philosophy. She says humans are all about the mind. Mama is basically suggesting that our unique evolutionary superpower isn't our ability to survive a shark attack or brave the freezing cold of Everest. It's our cognitive ability. She's arguing we should lean into what makes us uniquely human, rather than trying to physically conquer environments we just weren't designed for.
Which brings us to part two, the limits of our bodies. Mama really doesn't hold back here. She pushes back quite firmly, arguing that forcing ourselves into extreme habitats isn't thrilling at all. It's fundamentally illogical. She actually calls it foolish. She's directly challenging our modern glorification of extreme sports and perilous expeditions. To Mama, if you have to fight tooth and nail against nature just to survive an experience, you aren't proving your strength, You're just completely ignoring your natural design.
She uses these fantastic analogies to make her point. The crucial thing is that animals don't try to go beyond where they're supposed to be. They are strictly guided by the norms defined by nature. As Mama points out, we cannot climb cliffs like a mountain goat. We cannot live in the North Pole like a polar bear. Animals just stay in their lane. They thrive where they are biologically equipped to thrive. So Mama is asking Shruti, and by extension us, why do humans feel this incessant need to break the rules of nature rather than respecting them like every other living creature does?
Let's explore this further in part three, with what we can call the penguin paradox. Okay, to ground this abstract philosophy, Mama brings up this brilliant visual metaphor from the text The Penguins at the Baikal Zoo. These penguins require a completely iced, artificial environment just to exist there. If you take that artificial ice away, they'd perish in no time, because they are completely out of their natural element. Now, Shruti tries to point out that humans can survive in freezing climates with proper clothing, but Mama completely flips the script on her. She argues that just as the penguins rely on artificial ice, humans rely on heavy gear, what she calls excess protection, to survive the cold. That excess protection is literal proof that we are biologically out of bounds. Her conclusion is super clear. We should stick to places where we can survive without that excess protection.
So it forces us to ask a much deeper psychological question. Are these perilous ambitions really driven by genuine curiosity, or is it simply human ego? Mama states her belief pretty clearly here. People attempt these extreme things not just for a thrill, but to prove something to themselves or to everyone else. When we strip away all the romance of the adventure, is it really about experiencing the world? Or is it about validation? Is it about standing on top of a mountain just to say we did it?
even if we needed oxygen tanks and specialized gear just to keep our bodies from shutting down? And that leads right into part 4, the environmental cost.
This is a huge turning point in their chat. Shruti actually concedes a major point to her mother here. She admits that, yeah, while she still believes the thrill is a good thing, venturing into these extreme natural frontiers sadly results in heaps of waste being left behind. The specific example they use is the garbage accumulating on Mount Everest. This is so crucial because it highlights that our personal ambitions do not happen in a vacuum. Pushing our physical limits in nature often means degrading the exact nature we claim to be admiring.
So where do we go from here? Let's look at part 5, redefining human ambition. Okay, so if acting like a mountain goat leaves trash everywhere and breaks biological norms, what should we be doing with our ambition? This is the ultimate resolution of their debate. We need to pivot. We need to move away from self-serving physical ambition and shift toward a constructive, intellect-driven ambition. Remember earlier when Mama said humans are all about the mind? Well, here is the payoff. Instead of conquering physical extremes purely for a personal thrill, we should use the human mind to create things that make the world a better place for all of us.
Mama points out that we can absolutely still challenge our limits, just in ways that benefit everyone and leave absolutely no waste behind. She gives this incredible example. What about turning an arid, dry region into a lush, green one? I mean, think about the sheer ambition that takes. It requires intellect, planning, endurance, vision. It is a massive challenge to our limits, but the outcome? It's life-giving rather than self-serving. It leverages our unique cognitive abilities to manipulate the environment in a way that actually heals rather than harms. Ultimately, the text leaves Shruti, and all of us really, with this incredibly poignant advice. Mama tells her, look, I'm not trying to force my thoughts on you. Your life has to be your way. But she offers this one guiding principle. Do the right thing at the right time so that you end up with a life that has absolutely zero room for regrets. It's a call to conscious living. It asks us to evaluate our ambitions not just by the quick adrenaline rush they produce, but by the legacy they leave behind. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought drawn straight from the core of this text. When you're out there, pushing your limits and chasing down your biggest goals, whatever they might be, what is the byproduct going to be? Will your ambitions, driven by your mind and your unique human capabilities, leave behind a green region for others to enjoy? Or are you just going to leave a trail of waste? It's definitely something to chew on the next time you set out to conquer a new peak.